Hey everyone, welcome back to Financial Freedom Friday. My name is Nate Scott. It's great to be here. We're going to discuss tips and strategies to help you achieve financial freedom sooner rather than later. Today we're going to talk about mortgages. Maybe not the most exciting topic, but honestly, getting a mortgage and choosing what home you're going to live in for the next however many years of your life is one of the biggest financial decisions you're going to make. So we're going to talk about mainly the two types of mortgages that are most common when people go out to buy a home, and that's the 15-year and the 30-year mortgage. And so those are the two types, and we're going to discuss which one I think is better. And so each one has its benefits, I'd say, but today I'm going to share with you why I believe that the 30-year mortgage will almost always be the better option than the 15-year mortgage. And I know I'm very aware that people like Dave Ramsey and maybe some other financial gurus have come out and said that everyone should get a 15-year mortgage, and they're very adamant about it. But, I'm more in the lines of Warren Buffett, who says that a 30-year mortgage is one of the best tools that the average person has in their arsenal. So we're going to talk about why the 30-year mortgage, I believe, is better than the 15-year mortgage and the benefits that it has. And there's really three main reasons that we're going to go over of why I think that the 30-year should be something that you should focus on. So the very first point, or very first reason I think that the 30-year is a better option than 15 is risk. A lot of people aren't fully aware of this, but when you take a 15-year mortgage, you're actually taking more risk personally. And how this works is, let's just say you go out and you're choosing between the 15 and 30-year mortgage, and all things being equal, the 15-year mortgage will have a higher payment than the 30-year mortgage will. So let's say the 15-year mortgage has a $1,000 a month payment and the 30-year mortgage has a $600 a month payment, just for ballpark numbers. We got $1,000 a month for the 15, $600 for the 30-year mortgage. And you say, well, the banker came and sat down in front of me and he said, look at how much interest you're going to pay on a 30-year mortgage. Wouldn't you like to cut that down and choose the 15 years? You won't have to pay for as long. You won't pay as much interest over the time frame. You're like, yeah, that sounds good. But the problem is, once you sign the paper and you're now with this 15-year mortgage and paying $1,000 a month, you're locked into that. You can't have a down year in the business. You can't lose your job and say, 5 years ago when you gave me the option between the two and I chose the 15, well, can we go ahead and just switch that to the 30-year mortgage? I'm having a tough time paying the higher payment. I'd like to just get locked in. You know what they'll tell you? They say, no, you chose the 15-year, you signed the contract, you're stuck at the higher payment. The problem is that if you were 5 years from now to be in more financial hardship or a tough period of time when you would have rather only had to be obligated to pay the lower amount, is that the best time to get a loan or to refinance? If you go back in after having just lost your job and say, I've built up some equity because I'm paying the house off quickly, and I've got this higher payment, can I go ahead and get some money back out and transition to a 30-year mortgage to kind of relieve this tough period that I'm in? They'll say, well, no, you just lost your job, or your business isn't profitable right now. They'll say, unfortunately, no. And so most likely it's more risk in the future for potentially having to lose the home or sell it, because you're handing money over to the bank quicker to pay it off quicker, and you're locked in to do that. And the best time to borrow money is whenever you don't need it. So then if you had the 30-year mortgage, you could easily weather the storm with a lower payment, and you wouldn't have had to send them all the money. So more on that in just a second. But many times the interest rate on a 15-year mortgage is lower than a 30 because it's less risky to the bank. If it's less risky to a bank, it's more risky for you because you're locked in to always pay the higher payment no matter what. So the first issue is risk. It can be more risky, and you can have a higher chance of losing your home on a 15-year mortgage because many people are broke because they have such a high house payment. They have no money, but they've got a house that has a lot of equity in it. Well, that doesn't do you too much good. So the second one is taxes. The second point is taxes. As we know here in America, interest on your primary residence mortgage is a deduction that we all can take advantage of. And so whenever you're paying interest on a 15-year mortgage, the interest goes down rapidly. So not only is less proportion of your payment deductible, because a lot of it's going towards principal, but you're also going to have less time frame to take advantage of that interest deduction. Whereas a 30-year mortgage, a higher percentage of your payment is going to principal, and you have a much longer time frame that you get to take advantage of it. So in actuality, you can actually lower your taxes over a longer period of time by having the 30-year mortgage instead of the 15-year. So the second one is taxes. The third one is profitability. Now, a lot of you would say, well, Nate, you just told us that you're going to pay more interest on a 30-year mortgage than you would pay on a 15-year mortgage. So how on earth could it be more profitable to take the 30-year than the 15-year? And that's a great question. But it actually, I'll play it out. I think you'll really understand it. That's the problem when you walk into a bank. Many times they show you the two options. They say, man, you're going to pay so much interest on this 30-year mortgage. Trust me. You're going to want the 15-year. You'll pay less interest. And that's really very shallow thinking. It's like the nickel hiding the dime here. Because if we went out and we got a mortgage, a 30-year mortgage, and let's say the interest rate is 4%, we know that if we're paying taxes, maybe you're in the 25% tax bracket, really the net cost of that mortgage might only be 3% instead of 4%, because we get a tax deduction when we pay it. So you're telling me that you can't find anywhere better to put your money that would earn you more than 3%. That's what you're saying. I think there's plenty of places. Because remember, let's go back to our first example. If you're paying $1,000 a month on the 15-year mortgage and $600 a month on the 30, if you choose the 30-year mortgage, you have $400 a month that you can choose where to go. The 15-year, it's automatically going to the principal of the house. The 30-year, you're not sending as much towards the principal, which means you get to have control of that money and choose where you want to put it. I believe in you. I think you can earn more than 3% on that money. And in fact, we've even seen people using the infinite banking concept, take the difference in payments between a 15-year and 30 and put that money in a policy. And 15 years down the road, they actually have the money not only to pay the mortgage off, so essentially turning it into a 15-year mortgage, but they also have additional money because they earned a higher return than what the mortgage actually costed them. And if you can work with us with very little risk, you can probably do other things with it. And not only that, but you had control of that money for those 15 years. So in case something did happen to you, then you would be able to weather the storm really easily because you had a whole bunch of money that's yours, not stuck in the house, but is yours. So you actually can make, not only in 15 years time frame, if you are a decent investor or have something even like a policy that you can use to pay off the mortgage if you really want to get out in 15 years of having a mortgage, but also make money during the process. And so what I would tell you is 15-year mortgages are really great for those who financial discipline is not your forte. But for most of us, if we can be disciplined to save the difference, many times you will be better off choosing the 30-year. More profitable, you'll save less on taxes. As I said, you'll be more profitable and you'll have less risk of losing the home if you choose the 30-year but choose to do it wisely. So let's follow in Warren Buffett's footsteps. He thinks it's the greatest thing out there, so I'm going to choose to follow him. He has a lot of money, so we're going to focus on what Warren's doing. And remember, by the way, if you don't focus on building your financial freedom, nobody's going to do it for you. So let's go ahead and get to work. We'll see you next week.